Parliament described High Court judgment sentencing Chairman Wontumi to 20 years imprisonment as full of major defects.
The minority would do whatever is lawfully and properly within its power through Parliament and through public advocacy to see that justice is done and that the defects which have robbed the judgment of its legitimacy are corrected.
We have details as the Minority Caucus accuses government of selective justice in the fight against illegal mining. U.S. immigration judge tears into OSP's investigation into former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, describing it as not credible after approving his application for a green card. We have details of the proceedings before U.S. immigration judge David Gade. National Service personnel accuse managers of the scheme of making unauthorized deductions from the allowances. They insist monies meant to support them have been taken without prior notice or consent. We'll hear from affected personnel and get a response from the National Service Authority.
350 cedis is very small for the where some of us, but look at this. We are deducting 60 cedis, another time it's 100 cedis, and a whole lot. What's all this? Since we started this NSS,
angry Konongo residents threatened to shut down Kumasi-Accra Road over the government's failure to complete abandoned Konongo bypass projects as road crashes continue to claim lives on that stretch.
If these leaders, we didn't see the machines back with Kofi Job Company on the road to continue and complete the road in order for the big vehicles, the long vehicles to pass through that way, in order to cut off this accident, then we are going to block the major road in our St. Achim Central.
Well, the pulse is brought to you by Defendro Cough Expectorant. Defendro, breathe easy, feel better. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, see you in a moment. Welcome to the program. The minority in Parliament say the decision of the High Court sentencing their party's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entry-Boisiaku, also known as Chairman Wontumi, to 20 years in jail is full of major defects. According to the caucus, the refusal of the judge to refer the issue to the Supreme Court has occasioned a substantial miscarriage of justice. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Piaget said the caucus will embark on the lawful path to ensure Chairman Wontumi gets justice.
The minority would do whatever is lawfully and properly within its power through Parliament and through public advocacy to see that justice is done and that the defects which have robbed the judgment of its legitimacy are corrected. 4 serious defects run through this case, and each deserves nation's full attention. First, the denial of a counsel of choice. We understand that judgment was delivered despite the absence of Chairman Wontumi's lead counsel, whose office had notified the court of a prior professional engagement abroad. Second, the refusal to refer serious constitutional questions to the Supreme Court. The trial judge decided for herself that Section 99 2B of the Minerals and Mining Act was, in her own words, clear and unambiguous. Third, and perhaps most vulnerable of all on the law, is how the court pierced Akunta Mining Limited's corporate veil to convict Chairman Wontumi personally. The judgment convicted Wontumi and the company separately on separate counts, using reasoning that treats them as one and the same. A court cannot dissolve a company to convict the man. Fourth, selective justice. In July of last year, the Attorney General directed an investigation into the NDC's own national organizer, Mr. Joseph Yami, and its vice chairman, Mr. Yakubu Abanga, over allegations of illegal mining. Months later, there is no comparable update on charges or trial dates. Sitting government member of parliament has publicly acknowledged overseeing a mining site taken over from its lawful owners with no prosecution to date. And an NDC member of parliament charged over an anti-Galamsey clash was granted bail within days. This pattern, taken together, sustains a reasonable perception that the machinery of the state moves fastest and lands hardest when it is pointed at the political opposition. A government serious about ending selective justice must prosecute its own with the same vigor it has shown here.
Well, still in Parliament, the minority is also demanding the Attorney General to publish an enforcement record on Galamsey.
We therefore call on the Attorney General to publish the state's enforcement record on illegal mining across the political spectrum. We call on the Court of Appeal to scrutinize the denial of counsel, the refusal to refer, and the veil piercing with equal and unflinching record. We call on the judiciary to reaffirm the threshold for constitutional referral, with express regard to the Supreme Court's own decision in the Zanato case. And we call on all Ghanaians of every party to insist that the standard which cleared Mr. Chikese's name in 2016 be demanded with equal conviction today. Let us be clear about what this statement is not. It is not an attack on the judiciary as an institution. It is a call for consistency, for constitutional fidelity, for a justice system that inspires confidence across the political divide and not merely within it. History will not remember this moment for the length of sentence. It will remember whether Ghana, when tested, chose to defend the Constitution for everyone or only for the power of the day. We choose everyone, we choose the Constitution, and we will be judged rightly by whether we meant it. Chairman Wontumi is a political prisoner.
Patricia Appiagyei is the Deputy Minority Leader, and as you may be aware, it has already been 24 hours since the Accra High Court sentenced MPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry-Boasiako to 20 years imprisonment for illegal mining offences. And as he begins serving the 20-year sentence, pending public attention has shifted from the courtroom to his first 24 hours behind bars. Let's get talking right now and speak to Inusah Fuseini. He is a lawyer and also a leading member of the NDC. Mr. Fuseini, welcome to the program. First of all, I want to pick your thoughts briefly. What do you make of that 20-year sentencing of Chairman Wontumi?
Well, thank you for having me. The sentencing is within the legal parameters allowed under Section Act 995, which amended Act 703 in 2019, where we were all appalled by the level of illegal mining and the degradation of our environment and pollution of our water bodies. I recall that the Attorney General, Akufo-Addo, had come to Parliament seeking an amendment to Act 703 and proposing a sentence regime of 10 to 15 years. But when the bill came to Parliament, the bill to amend Act 703 came into Parliament, the majority of which Apiaji was a member, led by the majority leader, Fuseini said that 10 to 15 years appeared too low. And so Parliament itself amended the proposed amendment by Gloria Akufo and substituted 15 to 25 years. It was during this time that the First Deputy Speaker advocated for a shoot-to-kill policy and said, look, even sentencing people to 25 years will not solve the problem. We just have to attack and kill them from the air. So that should tell you the level of abhorrence that Parliament exhibited when the amendment to the Act 703 was proposed by the Attorney General. And so, yes, this is the first time the Act has been applied in a way that has sent shivers across the country. The first time, I mean, a prospect of the application of the Act came into view was when somebody working at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, a special assistant of somebody, had facilitated illegal mining and took money from another person to be able to allow that person to go and mine. There, the government and the MPP government then chose to prosecute that person under defrauding by false pretenses and help that person to escape the full rigors of Act 995.
Well, let's look at the concerns that have been raised by the minority. What do you make of those concerns that have been raised by them? They argue that the judgment against Wontumi contains several defects and are insisting that the judge's refusal to refer the matter to the Supreme Court has resulted in, quote, a substantial miscarriage of justice. Do you think they have a point in that?
It's a despicable attempt to remove from the law courts a matter that has traversed the courts in which counsel was represented, in which accused person was represented, in which accused person had the opportunity to change his lawyer into the court of politics and make the thing political. There's nothing political about it. And let me explain. Wontumi's activities in the Samarobai concession came to light during the tenure of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo. The minister then, John Jinapo, wrote a letter drawing Wontumi's attention to the illegal activities that he was carrying out in the Samarobai forest. This letter was based on advice received from the Minerals Commission.
Okay.
Now, Wontumi was let off the hook when His Excellency the President, speaking in Kofredwa, put a tamper on this grievous offense of Bernard and Chubukiasu and his Akontamine. And I say, MPP should be concerned, because you see, what we are being confronted with is a matter of leadership. When the president's agent, the minister appointed by the president to assist him, wrote a letter drawing the attention of Akonta mining to illegalities and requesting of him to resist from further engagement in those illegal activities. The president did nothing, absolutely nothing. He exonerated Wontumi. I've had their press conference. They're calling on Yamin, the president and attorney general, to take action against Yamin. But that shows the leadership difference. When the matter came to the attention of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he did not exonerate his national officers. He referred their conduct to the appropriate authorities for investigation. There's difference in leadership. All we need to do now is to see what level the investigation has gotten to. For me, I tell you without any fear of contradiction that history has been made. that anybody engaged in illegal mining activities can no longer have political insurance in perpetuity. The political insurance obtained by Bernard Enchibusiako expired on the 7th of December 2024. And so anybody who's engaged in illegal mining activities and who is associated with the NDC should know that a time will come when his political insurance will expire. But more importantly, the president must ride on this wave, take the moral high ground, and bring to book all those who are engaged in this illegal mining activity. I say so passionately because we all know that illegal mining activities is degrading our forests. It's polluting our water bodies. It's exposing people, citizens of this country living around the areas, the catchment areas where small-scale mining takes place, to dangerous, hazardous chemicals. Women are bringing forth children who are deformed. And all those engaged in illegal mining activities are motivated by greed. Greed. Greed, actually, is a seducer of reason. Farmers can no longer fetch water and drink on their farms. Fishermen can no longer fish because the river bodies can no longer support life. What are we doing to ourselves? Now, let me end by saying, this is the judgment of the court. And there are processes available under our legal system for anybody who feels hard done by a judgment of a court. I believe it's not the time to do politics with this matter. It's the time to explore legal avenues, if there are legal avenues, to see whether you can mitigate, his lawyers can mitigate the sentence or challenge the conviction. The jurisdiction of the court is not raised by a political statement. It's raised by proper processes filed invoking the jurisdiction of the court to look at the matter again. And so for me, let me say that history has been made, that we will look at illegal small-scale mining differently from now onward, and that people will know that they cannot be shielded forever. And let me just hasten to add, you hear them talking about his counsel being absent. Go take the law reports and look at the records of the law report and count the number of times judgments have been delivered in the criminal case in the absence of their lawyer or the lawyer of the accused. You will find a plethora of cases where the counsel for the accused was absent in court, but judgment was delivered.
Right. You mentioned that then Lands Minister John Jinapor, I believe you wanted to say Samuel Jinapor, because John is the...
no, I said Abu Jinapor.
Yeah, okay. Samuel Abu Jinapor. Right. Now, let's delve more into what we're discussing. The minority have also raised concern that, for example, you mentioned that Yamin and one other person within the NDC are being investigated for their possible involvement in Galamsey. As we speak right now, those investigations or the outcome of that investigation has not been made public. And this is one of the things that is fueling the opposition MPP to assume and make the comments that this is a political imprisonment, the sentencing that has been preferred to the party's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Enchibuesiako. Don't you think they have a case in that? Because, yes, we were told that those two persons were being investigated for their involvement in Galamsey, but the outcome of that investigation has never been made public as we speak right now.
So, in the first place, how can you equate investigation to culpability determined by court? How can you equate that one? It is simply not comparable.
Why isn't it? Because that's the argument they make.
No, that's why I'm saying that you cannot equate them.
Okay.
They're different.
Okay.
Number two, while investigations are being carried out to determine the involvement of these persons, the involvement of Wontumi was established under the MPP by the Minister in charge of lands and natural resources. So there's a difference. It was not a matter of investigations again. It was a matter of hard fact, underpinned by a letter written by the minister. 3, as dutiful citizens of this country, if we were concerned about the slow pace of investigation or the absence of a report, conclusive report on the investigation, no one will deny anybody the right to petition the relevant institution to produce the report of the investigation. But you cannot equate investigations to culpability. Okay.
Let's talk about Professor Frimpong Boaten's report. There were a lot of accusations and implications. Several individuals were implicated in that report by then Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boaten. Do you think that it's about time we went back to that report and study it carefully and perhaps take it up and try to see if we can have some evidence against those persons and then prosecute them if possible?
I will be surprised if the report is not already under investigation, under study. I'll be surprised. Because recall that it was the MPP government, through the Chief of Staff, that requested Professor Frimpong Boaten to produce a report on his tenure as the head of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, when he was removed as Minister for Environment. He produced the report and submitted same to the Chief of Staff. The report was hidden under a stack of files or books until Professor Frimpong Boaten leaked the report through a media encounter. Now, I said then that the report was too damning that if the MPP did not do anything about the report, a future NDC will look at the report. You see, until we begin holding people accountable and responsible for this illegal mining menace, we are not going to be able to mitigate or put a stop to it. And the earlier we started, the better.
The lawyers for Chairman Wontumi have already hinted of mounting an appeal against this sentence. And first of all, do you think they will have a stronger case if they appeal this?
Well, first of all, you must know that an appeal is a matter of right.
Right.
So you can't take that right. It's a democratic right. You can't take that right from the convicted person. And my understanding is that he's already instructed his lawyers to appeal. Now, so they will have a case to make. An appeal is not pursued just because you have a right to pursue the appeal. You can agree with the conviction, but appeal against the sentence and say it's too harsh. But in this case, there is a band from 15 to 25. So even if you say the sentence is too harsh, you are looking at the minimum of 15. Now, I've heard arguments about why the judge pierced the veil, or why, after piercing the veil, he convicted Wontumi and the company as well. That is a matter that they should go to appeal on if they feel that the judge could not do both at the same time. But I will, Patricia, the deputy minority leader, Patricia Piaget, I will beg of her to take her time and read the judgment of the court.
Okay. Mr. Fuseini, don't go yet. He is a legal practitioner and also a leading member of the governing NDC. I'll come back to you shortly, but in the meantime, though, it's been 24 hours since the Accra High Court sentenced NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwi Boesiako to 20 years imprisonment for illegal mining offences. As he begins serving the 20-year sentence pending a possible review, public attention has already shifted from the courtroom to his first hours behind bars. Let's get talking to a man who knows Chairman Wontumi so well. He's his spokesperson, Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa. Dr. Boakye Dankwa, welcome to the program. Let's begin from yesterday. You went to the courtroom with Chairman Wontumi. What were his last words to you before he was finally convicted?
It's a very good afternoon to you. I slept well, but I didn't wake up well. I'm happy to be on your platform.
Can you speak up so we can hear you?
A very good afternoon to you, Kenneth. I slept well, but I didn't wake up well today. Yesterday we went to court. The outcome of the court was not what we expected. Chairman told me to hang on, work hard for the party, bring the party back to power, and get a governance ongoing. And so those were his last words to me. Hang on, work hard for the party, protect the party, bring Dr. Bawumia to power, and I'll be fine. Those were his words.
I saw one of your videos in which you were very emotional. You took off your glasses, you bowed down your head. I saw a police officer standing on your right side. At that particular moment, what was going through your head?
A lot of things that I cannot even think about. I was basically thinking about Chairman Wontumi. I was just praying for him and thinking about his family, his wife, his children, thinking about the party, the new patriotic party, thinking about our flag bearer. We are very much aware that this is clear political victimization. Chairman Wontumi is an election bulldozer. He wins elections for the biggest opposition party that left governance a few months ago. And so, I was basically thinking about everything and praying for him. But, it was a very difficult moment, as you have stated. I haven't been able to recover from it, and I'm not too sure that I can, looking at the issues that are unraveling afterwards.
The Chairman Wontumi, we all know, is very animated anytime he appears in court. He says that he's the attention. Let's go back again to the courtroom, the moment that sentence was passed, and he noticed that he was going to serve 20 years imprisonment. Take us to the courtroom. What was his mood like?
He wasn't happy. Your court correspondents will tell you he wasn't happy. He kept shaking his head, no, 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 no. And so I could read those gestures. Clearly in disagreement with the convictions that her ladyship, Audrey, had placed out, and also in disagreement with the final sentencing. But he's a strong man. He's mentally strong. He's morally strong. He's emotionally strong. And I know that he will survive this journey.
Well, I saw him exit his car alone when he went to the court, and you also exited your car separately. So I take it to mean that both of you arrived at the court at separate times. But before getting to the court, you may have spoken before having your day in court yesterday. Was he confident that he was going to be exonerated, or he perhaps thought that anything could happen, including what happened yesterday?
Well, we were very confident that, as we have always walked into court and come out of court, we were confident that yesterday was going to be the same, because there were two motions that were raised by lawyer Tatiana. One on some specific interpretation of the Constitution at the Supreme Court, and two on the stay of execution of judgment or pronouncement of judgment because the legal counsel is absent. Of course, I've heard former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Senior Inusah Fuseini, claiming that, of course, judgment can be given without your lawyer, which is not a problem. But the fact that there are constitutional matters that needed interpretation, that the judge said she scratched those motions, it's something that should trouble all of us. And I'm sure that would also trouble the learned community senior as well on the other side of the divide, that one cannot be an arbiter of himself to interpret the Constitution when there are hierarchies to be able to bring those interpretations to us, and which is what we don't have now.
It's been now more than 24 hours since he was sentenced to 20 years jail term. How did he spend his first night in prison? Have you even visited him since he was sentenced?
No, we haven't visited him yet. We are hoping that we'll have the opportunity to visit him soon. We trust the institutions of this country, and so I know that the prison service will do what they have to do, as they do to all other persons that are convicted in this country. And so I'm certain that he's fine. I haven't exchanged any pleasantries or conversations with him as of yet. You know that when you are in court, when you're in prison and you have all these hard labor and everything, it's difficult to have access. And so the last time I saw him and the last time I spoke with him was yesterday at 2:30 when he left the CID headquarters and went straight to Inusah. I haven't had contact with him. And so we are praying and seeing. I'm sure that the good Lord upstairs would help all of us and help us.
One of the arguments that was made in court by his lawyers during the sentencing was that he's a family man, and he is indeed a family man with wife and children. How are his wives and children, wives because he tells us that he has 2 official wives, and his children coping? How are they doing?
It's very difficult. I mean, obviously, this is a very difficult time for the family. It's very, very, very difficult. We would ask everyone to continually bear them up in prayers. It's clearly unexpected. Chairman's daughter graduated just a few weeks ago. We were at a graduation preparing to go to the university. Very, very difficult moment. Younger ones as well. I mean, so we should just bear them up in prayer. It's not a news that any wife would want to hear of a husband or child to hear of a father.
Already, his lawyers have hinted of filing an appeal against this ruling. Do you have any idea if that appeal has already been filed? And if not, when will it be filed?
I am very certain that the appeal will be filed before the end of the week. The lawyers are working assiduously to make sure that happens. And so I am in no doubt in my mind that by close of week, we should have that appeal go through, which is his legal right and legal mandate.
Right. Another argument that was made in court by his lawyers was that he was the breadwinner of so many people. He owns so many businesses and employs a lot of people. I'm sure that this would also come to his employees as a shock. How are his businesses reacting to this ruling?
You are aware that Chairman Wontumi is a prolific man. He is an entrepreneur, employs in the thousands of young people across the country, his private companies, his radio, his TV, other private companies that he has. I mean, definitely, this is definitely a big blow to all of them. But I know that as one who practices good governance, definitely he's laid down some structures that his company should be able to survive without his very presence in the company. So that I have no doubt in my mind. But definitely it's a very big blow for the companies. It's a very big blow for the people that depend on him in Ashanti region, the entire country, the political party. He's a man of the grassroots, and so his influence is wide, which is why definitely, I mean, obviously, we would have wished that the judge should have waited for the interpretation of the Supreme Court on some specific constitutional matters, and then stay the execution of that, because lawyer Thatcher is back into the jurisdiction tomorrow. I mean, the judge could have said, I'll do the judgment on Friday, I do the judgment on Monday. I mean, the lawyer had a lot of opportunities to allow that the full processes goes through without any of these that are arriving or arising out of it.
We know that hitherto his sentence, and he was vying to be the national chairman of the NPP. Now that he has been sentenced to 20 years in prison, what happens to his campaign to be national chairman? Has it been suspended? Is it still ongoing? What happens?
Well, the campaign team is yet to make a decision of that and to have a meeting. But as we are aware, the party hasn't opened for nomination, and filing has not been done as well. And so once we consider this as a political prison and political victimization, clearly you will know that we are not taking into consideration all the allegations that have been placed before him. You know, so when it gets there and we have the opportunity, definitely he's very interested in becoming national chairman of the new patriotic party.
You did indicate earlier to me that you've not had the chance to pay him a visit since he was convicted. Do you think you will be able to do that anytime soon, and perhaps with the family as well?
Yes, definitely. Prison is like being in the hospital. There are clear visiting hours that are available for people to visit. We have a structure within our party. We have the leadership of the party. We have the flag bearer of the party. And so I'm very certain that we will be able to visit him before the week comes to a close.
And then, what about the party, though? Have they indicated any plans of also visiting him in the short to medium or perhaps long term?
Absolutely. I mean, Chairman Wontumi is still the sitting chairman of Ashanti region. So I'm very certain that the party will also visit. Like I said, prisoners can be visited. There are clear guidelines in terms of how many hours you can visit a prisoner, how many people can see the prisoner, just like any visiting hours in a hospital or even in any of these boarding schools that we have. All those formalities are in place, and I'm sure that we will have an opportunity to visit him in due time.
We haven't publicly heard from the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on this, but I want to find out from you privately, has he communicated his feelings about the sentencing to your team?
It's a very big blow to him. Yesterday, he had an emergency meeting right after the sentencing from court, and so it's a very, very big blow to him. His office and himself instructed the party to go ahead with a press conference, which was done, and instructed the caucus in Parliament as well to go ahead with their press conference, which has been done as well. And so he's very, very involved in it, and he's very saddened with the turnout of events. And I'm sure that he's going to continually work hard to see to it that we go through the healing processes and also recover from this.
Chairman Wontumi has a number of business conglomerates. Now that he's behind bars, who is going to take charge of which company?
Well, these are private matters, and these are personal matters that I do not think that would want to lay it out in the public domain, if you don't mind.
Right. Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa, thank you very much. It's a special aid to the Ashanti Regional MPP Chairman, Wontumi, who has been sentenced to 20 years in prison. I still have Inusah Fuseini with me. He's a private legal practitioner and also a leading member of the governing NDC. Mr. Fuseini, I want you to comment briefly on what you've heard from the special aid to Chairman Wontumi, and then I'll pick your final thoughts.
Well, so largely his intervention was on personal matters. I'm not a friend of Wontumi. I'm not close to him, and these matters I do not have. I'm not privy to them, so I cannot comment on them. Except to say that probably they need to revisit the case of Republic against Kwame Pepra, Ibrahim Adam, and Sipayanki, and others, and two others. Section 179 of the Criminal and Offences Act had come into view, causing financial loss to the state. Council, I was junior counsel in the matter. Council had raised the issue that the causing financial loss was drafted in a vague manner, that it violated, I think, Article 19 or so of the Constitution, because what constitutes financial loss was not clearly defined. After the council then requested that Section 179 be escalated to the Supreme Court for a determination whether the Section 179 met the constitutional threshold of a person that cannot be charged for an offense which is not properly defined by law. Afre refused and assumed jurisdiction and dealt with the matter in his judgment. And so there's precedent. But, well, there are different judges sitting on different matters. And so I will not take the wind out of their sail, but I say that there's a precedent.
Well, his special aid did indicate that the lawyers will file for an appeal this week. Can he obtain bail pending that appeal?
So they have to file for the appeal. I mean, bail pending appeal cannot stand on its own.
Right.
It must be premised on the appeal. you must file the appeal and then file for bail pending appeal. And then the court will evaluate the grounds of appeal, and if there is substantial miscarriage of justice that will occur in the circumstance, they will the court of first instance. So they have to file the appeal in the court of first instance, and they know this. They are senior lawyers. And then if the application for bail pending appeal is rejected, then they can repeat the application at the Court of Appeal. And so, yes, and then take advantage of all the court processes. Yes, so no one can take it away from them. It's their right, fundamental right, in accordance with democratic principles. Right. But I'm just saying that, for me, whatever happens, this is a turning point in our fight against illegal mining.
Right. Inusah Fuseini, grateful for your time this afternoon. He's a leading member of the governing NDC and also a private legal practitioner. Let's still stay on the Wontumi matter, because the New Patriotic Party says it has taken over the appeal process to challenge the jailing of Bernard Inchibwesiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi. Well, the party has also made it clear that it will not take any conclusive decision on the convicted Ashanti Regional Chairman's eligibility to contest the upcoming national election. Questions have already come up about whether Chairman Wontumi can still contest for national chairmanship of the party, even from prison, after he has been convicted and sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for transferring mining rights without authorization and facilitating illegal mining at Samraboy. Speaking on PM Express last night, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, says no decision will be taken until the appeal process is exhausted and nominations are closed.
Very quickly, Haruna, now that he is a convicted criminal, can he still run as a chairman?
There is an appeal on that.
There's no appeal.
There is an appeal to, we have indicated our resolve to appeal.
So you haven't filed it yet?
So
you intend to?
Yes, so, and that is, and this one, it has been moved by the party. It is the party itself that is asking for the appeal to be fastened up.
Okay, so the party will file the appeal on his behalf?
The lawyers will file the appeal on the instructions of the party.
Okay.
So once the party is the one taking the case on asking the legal counsel to proceed on filing, until we open nominations, we cannot make a determination now, because Wontumi has not filed to contest as national chairman of the party.
But he has declared that he will.
Yes, and declaration is always good.
Yeah.
My brother has declared severally to go for Bimbila and he hasn't gone.
But to the point, even when you file the appeal, he will still remain a convicted criminal until that appeal is determined.
Because the convicted criminality is being contested, and we cannot rely on a contested criminal activity to say that we are pronouncing judgment. For us, we believe that his conviction is not grounded. It is a political conviction, and that is why the entirety of the party, today when we had our meeting, we concluded that Wontumi is a political prisoner.
That is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. He also maintains Wontumi's prosecution and conviction remains a political persecution until the government jails its own members that are being investigated for galamsey.
Ama himself, His Excellency the President, admitted in one of his speeches that in his party people are doing galamsey. DCs, MMDCs are doing galamsey. Your party people have sat on this particular platform and said that the MPP had given concession to their people. They would take it over and give it to their people. And I can quote it. My own brother, Mustafa Gbandi, said so. You have given those concessions to your people. For the first time in the history of this country, 10 good districts in Central Region where the Vice President, His Excellency Professor Nana, comes from, don't have water to drink under this government. You said state of emergency was just a free bonto. You can do it. Up to today, they are getting to 2 years. You have not been able to implement the state of emergency. Erastus, if I have a way to award. I will award Erastus and re-award him again. He has done marvelously well in this fight against Galamsey. What he has exposed, and he has said it in the afternoon when we're having the discussion, that what is even happening in the area that they are talking about Akunta mining, it is not even the case, because there is big issues that is happening in other places. More devastating activities that is happening. And this government is just looking on, giving concessions, and they are sitting, they allow their party people to go out there and spoil the lands. If they are interested in fighting Galamsey, let us see that the vice chairman, the national organizer, the Win MP, the Ahafo-Addo South East MP, Oscar, all of them, they should send them before the law court.
Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has rejected the position of the MPP that Chairman Wontumi is a political prisoner, as they insisted all evidence in the judgment proved that there was wrongdoing. Rashid Tanko Computer is Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC.
Face it, this is the ruling. The ruling is here. You read it. All those speaking, they've read the ruling. Tell me, throughout the ruling, whether you have seen any political issues in the matter. Tell me.
There isn't.
Nothing. So where from this rendition of a political persecution? Listen, who is persecuting who? That's why I'm saying my brothers in MPP, I don't understand them. These days, even if your wife has miscarriage, they will go and hold press conference and say it's John Mama who caused the miscarriage. And that's why I'm saying that, look, it will do us good as a country if we can buy airtime or give airtime, and you read this ruling of the trial judge to the whole country, change it to Akan language, in the other languages, Dagbani language, Hausa language, Konkomba language, all the major languages in Ghana, so the Ghanaians will see the ruling and see whether what the press conference they held today was not a chop-back press conference. Why are we doing this to ourselves? The man, even giving the things to them, even led the PW1 to go
prosecution
and see,
witness.
Yes,
that is the witness for the Attorney General.
Attorney General. After giving them this, he led them to Kumasi to go and meet somebody who will provide them equipment. It's there. They didn't dispute it. He led them to go and buy equipment to come and do this thing. And even wrote to the Western Regional Security Council to provide security for them to continue these illegal activities. It's there.
Who wrote? Chairman Wontumi?
Akunta mining, signed by Chairman Wontumi.
Well, the trial involving former Chief Executive Officer of the National Buffer Stock Company, Hanan Abdul Wahab, has been rescheduled by the Criminal Division of the Accra High Court after proceedings were disrupted by the lengthy judgment in the case involving the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP, Chairman Wontumi. Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Seidu Wuni, are standing trial for allegedly orchestrating a scheme to divert public funds intended for the National Buffer Stock Company and the school feeding program for their private benefit. Let's get details from a member of our legal affairs desk, Fatau Bayaga, who is joining me in studio. Fatau, based on the information that we have, how did the trial of Chairman Wontumi drag this trial of Abdul Wahab?
Ken, interestingly, Hanan's lawyers, led by Godfrey Diabo-Adame, former AG, filed a motion, and basically they're saying that they want to strike out the charges that have been preferred against Hanan and his wife. And what in that particular motion, or in that particular application, they argue that the charges slapped on Hanan are, vague. In fact, Dami described them as fatally defective and in contravention of the accused person's right to fair trial. He explains that these charges are vague, they are overbroad, they are duplicitous, among other things, and he is praying to the court to, in a way, dismiss this particular or strike out this particular charge sheet. The motion was supposed to be moved yesterday at the Specialized Court 1 of the Accra High Court, but guess what, Ken? Because of the time spent on Wontumi's judgment. In fact, the judge took more than an hour to deliver this particular judgment. And the information that we are gathering from the AG's office is that the senior state attorneys who were supposed to go and move this motion were also flagging the deputy AG and criminal court for where the judgment happened. So basically, that was the reason this particular motion wasn't moved, and the case, according to what we know, was rescheduled and is coming off tomorrow at the Accra High Court. But Ken, basically in relation to this particular case, tomorrow, if Dami is able to move this motion and then the judge upholds it, it means that the AG would have to go back and then refile or file a new charge sheet. But if the motion is struck out, or is dismissed, then it means that the trial for that very high-profile case would continue.
Fatal Bayaga is our man on the ground in the courts for us. Thank you very much, Fatal. You're still watching the polls here on Joy News. We're in turn from the break. We will tell you the story about Ken Ofori-Atta. Don't go anywhere. Hello again. Government of Ghana's extradition processes against former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta death a big blow as a United States immigration judge, David Gade, has torn into the Office of the Special Prosecutor's investigation of describing the claims as not credible in a hearing last month to consider Ken Ofori-Atta's application for permanent residency in the U.S. The immigration judge held that the former finance minister had proved that he had not been engaged in any wrongdoing when he served as finance minister. Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu and an anti-corruption campaigner has also been expressing his view on the decision of the court.
Prior to this judge's ruling, it had already come out that the Justice Department also has issues with the charges that we filed. So this judge is not the first to say so. So about 2 weeks ago, I mentioned it, that my sources show that the American justice system has issues, that some of the charges were poorly drafted, etc. But I made the point that, listen, I wouldn't say because I want Kisi Ejabe out of that office, anything I hear against him, then I latch onto it. No. I believe that the American justice system should give us some slack. You see, we call something margin of appreciation. It is used in the international, when international bodies, are deciding matters, specifically the European Court. You see that the EU countries have the European Court. But when the court is sitting, right, they often give some margin of appreciation to the domestic courts of the various countries, saying that they would accept that the local judges have some intimate knowledge, or let's say they are closer to the action, so they have a certain appreciation that the external court does not have, etc. So I expected that restraint from the judge. The judge's comments do not show that committee at all, don't show that restraint. It's too raw, like we say in Ghanaian English. So it's unbefitting of a judge of a foreign country commenting on the processes of another country. It doesn't show any respect to our justice system. It doesn't at all. So I'm a bit more troubled about that.
What if his request for adjusting the immigration was hinged on these charges and also cited that, well, if I'm extradited, these and that will happen? Then that is him inviting the judge into looking into our processes, right? Would it not matter at all?
No, I don't see the correlation. You see, the judge could make some comments and leave them at that.
Okay.
You rightly asked Frank Davis, Ofori-Atta's lawyer, that was the judge asked to pronounce on the criminal case. No, that's not his brief. The judge didn't have a mandate. He's dealing with an adjustment of status case. If it were that, maybe he is the criminal court or maybe the extradition court. So let's make this distinction. That judge is not the extradition court. He's only dealing with the immigration matter. If it were the extradition court, I would have understood it more. I would have given it more weight. But for an immigration judge to tear so much into our charges, etc., even though I admit that there are some issues, but I think that it looks more like bullying our system. No, those days are well gone. The judge will be well advised to restrain himself. Those days of they bullying us, they are gone. It's a different world now.
Let's get talking and bring in Frank Davis, who's a member of Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team. Mr. Davis, welcome to the program. I want to pick your initial reaction on those pronouncements by the U.S. judge.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your cherished listeners and esteemed viewers. Well, what do I have to say? We have all, on this side of the table, maintained that we
Mr. Davis, you may have to speak up for me.
I'm saying, well, what can I say? Those of us on this side of the table, Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers, we've always maintained that we will be guided by due process and the rule of law. And that is what has been our cornerstone all this while in respect of this matter involving Kenneth. Now, there was an application for an adjustment of his immigration status, yes. And it was before an immigration judge, yes. But that does not take away the fact that the immigration judge is also literate in law. He is not an innocent bystander. He is also very, very literate in law. Now, when the hearing took place, there was a representation from the Department of Justice. I think the lawyer's name was one Anderson, whatever. And then Ken also had representation. There was a full hearing before the immigration judge. They all put forth the material evidence to necessitate a ruling one way or the other. I wasn't in court, but I'm privy to what happened. All right? Now, the material that the representative from the Department of Justice put before the judge in opposition to the application request by Kenneth is what the judge made copious reference to. And the judge, before his ruling, made this cardinal observation. I'll paraphrase what he said. He said he is well skilled in analyzing documents of the nature presented before him in relation to criminal wrongdoing and other matters involving corruption and malfeasance and misappropriation or embezzlement. All right?
Yeah.
Now, having made that premise, the judge went on to say that the 200-page affidavit put before him, emanating from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, contains no material, credible material evidence of criminal wrongdoing. Those were the findings by the judge. It is not mine. So, I mean, if anybody wants to take issue with that, then it's a person's cup of tea. But so far as I am concerned, the material before the judge is what the judge relied on to come to a definitive ruling. And in the judge's estimation, the material put forth by the Office of the Special Prosecutor could not found any criminal wrongdoing on the part of Ken Ofori-Atta. On the contrary, the material evidence that Ken Ofori-Atta put forth through his lawyers was convincing enough to show that he had not been involved in any wrongdoing. That is where it ends. As to whether it will be contested further by the Department of Justice is another matter. But the judge has handed his ruling, and that is the ruling of the court. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Mr. Davis, don't go yet, because we've gotten reaction or response from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and that is what will be rolling on your screens pretty shortly. The Office of the Special Prosecutor says reports suggesting a U.S. immigration judge has cleared former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta of wrongdoing are misleading. According to the OSP, the U.S. immigration proceedings are separate from its extradition efforts and have no bearing on the criminal charges pending against Mr. Ofori-Atta in Ghana. It continues to stress that only Ghanaian courts have the authority to determine his guilt or innocence, and the special prosecutor distinguishes three separate legal processes. The first one is U.S. immigration proceedings, which relate to Ofori-Atta's immigration status. The second one is the U.S. extradition proceedings, which will determine whether he should be returned to Ghana. The third one is a criminal case in Ghana where he faces corruption-related charges before the High Court in Accra. The OSP maintains that Ofori-Atta remains the subject of a valid arrest warrant, is a fugitive from justice in Ghana, and is required to appear before the High Court. It adds that the criminal proceedings will continue in accordance with Ghanaian law, whether or not he's physically present in the country. Mr. Davis, I want to believe that you've chanced upon this response from the OSP, have you?
Yes, I have read it.
Good. So the OSP says that the U.S. Immigration Court did not determine your client's guilt or innocence. Agree with them?
So, but who has said so? You see, the Office of the Special Prosecutor should always pay attention to detail and stop this panic, knee-jerk reaction. It doesn't do the office any good. Now, listen to me. Listen to me. I think the OSP should be interested in what happened in the court. If I were him, I would consult my principal, the Attorney General, and inquire from the Attorney General what material was put forth by the representative from the Department of Justice when they appeared before the immigration court. The proceedings were not held in a vacuum. It is clearly legal absurdity for the Office of the Special Prosecutor to put forth such a statement. Is he trying to suggest that the decision was made in a vacuum without any material before the judge? Now the judge has come to a conclusion based upon the material placed before him. Whether or not that is going to absolve Ofori-Atta from criminal prosecution is neither here nor there, and nobody has said so. I repeat, nobody has said so. All right? Now, it is in clear defiance of common sense and logic for the special prosecutor to suggest that with the load of material before the judge, whether he was sitting as a criminal court judge or an immigration judge, is neither here nor there. He is literate in law. He's a judge. Now, according to the judge, there was a 200-page affidavit prepared by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And that affidavit did not fly from Ghana to the judge. It was put forth by the Department of Justice. And that is what he relied on to make his finding. So I think the Office of Justice to painstakingly read through this event and advise themselves. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody, I have said time without number, that Kenneth Nanaya Kunuko Ofori-Atta is not scared of prosecution and he's not running away from accountability. Okay? The processes should be followed through. And if Ken has to come down to Ghana, of course, there's an extradition request. If it should go through, Ken obviously will come to Ghana. There are other means the Office of the Special Prosecutor can try Ken. So I don't think we should be worried too much about whether. Look, I have said, and I reiterate, as I speak with you this afternoon, so yes, Kenneth Ofori-Atta has not been notified of any criminal charges preferred against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That should engage the Special Prosecutor's thought. Up to date, he has not been notified of any criminal charges. So if the Special Prosecutor will be running hot saying, and will come and answer charges in Ghana, he will come and answer charges when he's notified. So all this fanfare, this noise, to see. At every turn, he waits. When a matter erupts, he doesn't come to react. He was aware of this ruling. He didn't say, the office didn't say anything. Now that it's been discussed, he comes out with this whatever. I don't understand what the Office of the Special Prosecutor intends to achieve from this. He should consult his principal, the Attorney General, and get a good briefing before he issues his press releases and press it. With all due respect.
Well, I will refer.
We are going by due process and the rule of law. Maybe if he doesn't understand the due process and rule of law, he should be educated on it. The matter has been determined. One leg has been cleared. Let's wait for the other.
I will refer to you once again to the statement that has been released by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the OSP. It says that the criminal trial in Ghana will continue regardless. Is that something that worries you as his legal team?
Why should that worry me, sir? Why should that worry me? If Ken is notified of his charge, he would defend himself. And you see, let me tell the officer of the that you see, high-falutin noises, okay, about somebody having committed a crime does not amount to conviction. It is always the duty of the prosecution to prove the guilt of the accused person beyond all reasonable doubt. So much this cacophony of noises will not change anything. The special prosecutor should be interested in notifying Ken of his charges. If he is notified, we will square up. Kenneth is never afraid and is not scared.
Well, the OSP also says that
his lawyers are not scared either.
The OSP also says there's a valid arrest warrant. Will your client submit himself to the High Court?
A valid arrest warrant to do what? No, does the OSP understand the extradition request he has put forth? To be saying that there's a valid arrest, he should take the warrant to America and go and arrest him. Does he understand the extradition request himself, does he? To be talking about valid arrest warrant? The OSP should spare us this. He should educate himself on what is going on properly. I believe that he doesn't have enough education. He should educate himself. He has a warrant of arrest here. So he should go to America and go and arrest him. If he has a warrant of arrest, why is he going through an extradition request? You see, he should go and consult his principal. I'm giving him very candid advice. He should go and consult the Office of the Attorney General, take instructions from them before he comes out to talk. I think it's very important. It is the state Ghana we are dealing with, not him. Whatever he does in that office rubs against the state. So he should stop embarrassing the state in the manner he does all. With a red notice alert, and then with this, he should stop embarrassing the state in the manner he does always. Because his office is an office of the state, not his personal office. So he should take instructions from his principals, the Attorney General, before he comes out to talk. In the loud manner that he does, which is full of fury, signifying nothing.
Will we see Ken Ofori-Atta in Ghana anytime soon?
There is an extradition request. That's my short answer to you.
That's not the question I asked you. I'm asking you, will he be coming to Ghana anytime soon?
I've answered you. I'm saying there's an extradition request.
I'm not talking,
supposed to bring him to
Mr. Davies, respectfully, I'm not talking about an extradition request. I am
You have asked me a question. I've answered you. What again do you want from me? I'm saying it's coming to Ghana. It's pivoted on the extradition request. And there is one pending. So why don't you await the outcome?
Okay.
Why are you asking me whether Ken will come?
So if I get you, if I understand you correctly, that means that Ken will only return to Ghana if the extradition request before the U.S. is approved.
I have not said so. That is what you are saying.
So what are you saying then?
I'm saying there's an extradition request. And that will determine Ken's coming to Ghana. The way you want to coin it.
I'm not coining anything, sir. Yes, I mean, we all are aware. You've said at times aplenty that there is already an extradition request before the U.S. government. Fine, we all know that. But I'm asking, as a citizen of Ghana, will Ken Ofori-Atta be returning to Ghana anytime soon, in spite of the extradition request? Will he return to Ghana anytime soon?
You are more of a citizen of Ghana than Ken. Why, Ken?
Say again?
Ken is gone. I say you are more of a citizen of Ghana than Ken.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Why would you even say that you're a citizen of Ghana? He's not a citizen. That question you are asking me is personal. I believe you can talk and ask him whether he's coming to Ghana. I act as his lawyer. I don't act as his personal counsel.
I'm losing you, Mr. Davies. If you can kindly speak up for me.
I am saying
right,
that are you more of a citizen of Ghana than Ken?
I can never be.
Yes, so Ken is not from Afghanistan. He is also a citizen. He has rights, just as you do. And I'm saying there's an extradition request pending, which is to solicit his arrival or his attendance charges in Ghana. When we cross that process, it will determine whether Ken is coming to Ghana or not. I am Ken's lawyer.
Right.
I am not his personal counselor. So I can't answer such a question. If you want to ask him directly whether he's coming to Ghana, you are liberty to do so.
Okay, I will definitely do that when I get the opportunity to speak to Ken Ofori-Atta. But because you're a member of his legal team, that is why I thought it wise to find out from you if you have any idea about that.
The legal team reacts to legal matters.
Okay.
Not personal matters. This is personal. Okay, not me.
Okay. Thank you very much, Frank Davis. He's a member of Ken Ofori-Atta's legal team there. The pulse returns after this break. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back. A decade after its first assessment, the Ghana Institution of Engineering has released the 2026 Ghana Infrastructure Report Card, providing an independent assessment of the state of the country's critical infrastructure. The report assigns Ghana a D3 score, rated poor to fair, raising questions about whether the country's infrastructure can really support its development ambitions. To discuss the findings and challenges behind the ratings and what they mean for the country's infrastructure future, I've been joined here on the Pulse by the Vice President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Dr. Patrick Bequain. Dr. Bequain, welcome to the program. Good to have you here once again. Many will ask, are we really building for today to last us for a few months, or we are building for the future?
Thank you very much for having us, and we really appreciate the opportunity to share this report findings with you. Yes, indeed, every nation should build for today and also for the future. But the assessment of what you have today will determine whether it is enough, whatever we have is enough for today and can meet the future needs. And indeed, from the assessment that we've made so far, getting D3, I think we need to be much more concerned about the state of our infrastructure and do something going forward as a nation. So what we did, and if I'm to go on, what we did was to assess about 8 of our infrastructure within the country. In 2016, indeed, we looked at 3 of them. We scaled it up as an independent institution, and based on our scale up, we got 8 different infrastructure areas. I'll go into the details even as we proceed.
Right.
And like you rightly said, we had D3, but what does D3 actually mean? We used a simple report approach, the way when we go to school, A, B, C, D approach. And when we say an infrastructure is A, then it's exceptional, it's very good. B is very good. C is good. D is fair. And E is poor. And F is very poor. And so if you are D, then you are fair. But even within the grading, we had subgrading. So we have D1, which is at the top of the D, D2, which is in the middle, and D3 means it has the potential to go to E. So on the average, the 8 infrastructure is telling us that if we don't take care, our infrastructure will move from D3 to E, which is in poor states. And we looked at roads, we looked at our water infrastructure, we looked at our aviation, we looked at our energy infrastructure, rail, and the rest. So we'll go into the 8 infrastructure area, and you'll be surprised that some are doing well. So aggregating the infrastructure sometimes can be worrying, but some of our infrastructure, they are doing well, but there are others that needs more to be desired of. And
yes, so I'm looking at it. I have the report card in front of me. I see that our railway had E1, 48%.
Yes.
I mean, was that even a surprise? Not surprising to me.
Yes, and what you're seeing over the period is, as a nation, we have not paid attention to our rail infrastructure. Even those that we have, about the 948 kilometers of rail lines that we are having, it's only about 140 something, if you can get the exact distance, 142 two or so that is operational. And that is a challenge to us as a nation. We have developed even certain sections within our rail network that we are not operating it. So, for example, the Tema and Pakadam rail line, which was supposed to help take a lot of our freight loads, is not fully operational till date. Since 2024, November 2024, that we completed it, it's not operational, and it's a challenge. And we have sunk so much money into it.
That's crazy, because I'm looking at the report, and we have three sectors that recorded an E, aside from the railway, our health sector, and then our road infrastructure as well. Exactly. They all recorded an E.
Yeah. That's challenging.
Right.
But let me...
Dr. Bakwe, sorry to interrupt you, because there is a live feed that we have to pick right now. We come back and continue the conversation momentarily, but let's cross over live now, where the National Service Association is holding a press conference concerning some deductions that have been happening, which they are unhappy with. Let's cross.
Group activities and bridge the transitions into the job market. That responsibility requires us not only to initiate programs we believe will benefit service personnel, but also to listen when concerns are raised and to act decisively when necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be transparent about why we ventured down this path in the first place. In December of last year, the National Executive Council, that is the regional president the regional president across the country, across the 16 regions, deliberated extensively on a singular question: what happens to our colleagues after service year? We see the harrowing statistics for youth unemployment in this country. We see brilliant young graduates returning home with certificates but no employment, or better still, no practical skills to compete in a harsh job market. And we are not new to this. Most of our service personnel out there, they are being sent on errands. At the end of the day, they don't acquire any skills at where they are being deployed at. And most of them especially do not even know how to use common Microsoft tools such as Word or PowerPoint and Excel. So these are reasons why Council came together to make sure that this program take place. It was out of genuine concern for our post-service welfare that we conceptualized the capacity building program. The capacity building program was conceived with one clear objective: to equip national service personnel with practical, industry-relevant skills that would improve their employability and competitiveness after national service. We wanted to give you a competitive edge. We wanted you to walk out of your service year not just with a certificate, but with coding skills, digital marketing expertise, entrepreneurship, acumen, and practical crafts that make you invaluable to the job market or provide options for the path after service year. Following extensive deliberations, the National Executive Council, the association's second highest decision-making body, approved the introduction of the program in December last year. I should also provide some important context. This initiative was not conceived in a vacuum. The previous administration of NASPA in 2024 piloted a similar capacity building program for personnel in Greater Accra region. Only, the pilot yielded positive feedback and demonstrated the genuine need for such training among service personnel. It was on the strength of the pilot's success that we believed it was wise to upscale the program to a nationwide level. Following the approval of the initiative, NASPA entered into a contractual agreement with Zeus Atlas Limited to organize and deliver the nationwide training program. To clarify, in pursuit of its mandate, as an autonomous body, NASPA reserves the right to independently enter into a contractual agreement with any entity towards a productive goal without the involvement or oversight of the National Service Authority. As such, this agreement was executed solely between NASPA and Zeus Atlas Limited. Management of the authority was formally informed of the initiative after the contract had been signed, which is consistent with NASPA practice over the years. To ensure a nationwide participation, NASPA and Zeus Atlas Limited embarked on an extensive awareness campaign through promotional videos, flyers, broadcast messages, emails, and engagement with executives across the country and personnel. Executives as well, duly sensitized personnel. Personnel were encouraged to participate and select elective courses that match their interests and career aspirations, and the data gathered formed the basis of the program's implementation plan. This program was for all personnel to benefit from. However, there has also been considerable discussion and in some cases misinformation regarding the cost structure of the program. We believe it is important to set the record straight. The estimated contribution was 15 cedis per month, which would have amounted to approximately 180 cedis over the service year. These figures were estimates based on the projected cost of delivering quality training nationwide and were also to be subjected to adjustment based on participation, members, and cost efficiency. Beyond the training itself, we want to be transparent about what this contribution was intended to cover. The cost of the project included practical hands-on experience that would have given you real-world skills applicable to the job market in courses like Essential Skills IT, Code and Website Development, Basic Laws of Ghana, and electives like Project Management, Study Abroad options for those seeking to improve their academic pursuits, and agricultural business to create entrepreneurs in the agricultural value chain, as well as a certificate of completion upon successful participation, a credential you could present to a potential employer to demonstrate your acquired competencies among other provisions. These will go a long way to empower the service personnel to execute better in their workplaces for their service posting. We believed that the package represented value for money, especially considering the potential return on investment in terms of your future employability. However, we fully acknowledge that the financial commitment required may not have been reasonable for all service personnel. Based on this progress, NASPA formally requested the National Service Authority to facilitate a reduction of 60 Ghana cedis to represent the duration of the training over a 4-month learning period. That is 15 cedis per month. So as to offset part of the program costs already incurred, which was what was deducted in the last allowance. However, as concerns about the program intensified, particularly regarding the deductions and the level of consultation, we took our time to engage our newly elected regional executives, receive feedback from service personnel, and as well as carefully review the issues that had been raised. Over the past few days, we have been engaged by the management of the National Service Authority over the concerns and frustrations expressed. In response to the feedback from the service personnel and general public, and as well as in line with the sector ministers and board's directive, the management have issued this directive to NASPA. The capacity building program, as currently structured, is hereby suspended with immediate effect, pending a comprehensive review of the program for a decisive action to be taken, which is in line with our sector minister and the Minister of Youth, Empowerment and Development, Honorable George Akufo-Addo's directive. Again, we wish to assure every national service personnel that there will be no further deductions on behalf of or in relation to the capacity building training. We would like to emphasize that we welcome this directive wholeheartedly. We thank the Minister, the Board and Management of the National Service Authority for their wisdom and firm guidance. They listened to our outcry, assessed the situation with seriousness, and issued a directive that protects your welfare while preserving the opportunity for a better future. We are grateful for their partnership and their commitment to getting this right. We thank our media partners and journalists who reported on this matter. Your scrutiny was fair and served its purpose to hold us accountable. We respect your role in our democracy and thank you for your professionalism. And most importantly, we thank every national service personnel who have shared their concerns respectively and constructively. Your voice matters and we have heard it clearly. Together, we will continue to build a stronger, more transparent, and more responsive NASPA that always places the interests of service personnel first. Thank you for your time, your commitment to national service, and your willingness to engage in this important conversation. May God bless you all, and may God bless our beloved nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, National President. So the details of this particular speech is all in Google Drive. We'll have the sample outside. It involves postcards, pictures, as well as the full speech that has just been read, which clarifies.
So the person you just heard is the president of the National Service Personnel Association, Abdul Wahab Bala Muhammad, saying that they have suspended with immediate effect the deductions that were ongoing. He said that those deductions were for capacity building program, and as I mentioned earlier, it's been suspended effective immediately, pending a comprehensive review of the program for a decisive action to be taken. And they say that that was in line with the Minister for Youth Empowerment and Development, George Opare-Addo's directive. So if you're just joining the conversation, that's the press conference that just went by. The National Service personnel were complaining about being deducted 60 cedis, even some more, every month for what they described as capacity building program. It has now been suspended indefinitely with immediate effect on the directive of the Minister for Youth Empowerment and Development, George Opare-Addo. That's the news just coming in. It is, of course, a developing story that we will be bringing you more in our subsequent bulletins. But in the meantime, though, let's come back into the studio and continue our conversation with Dr. Baquin. Dr. Baquin, we were having a chat on our infrastructure deficit before we had to truncate that broadcast to pick the press conference. Please continue for us.
Yes, thank you once again. I was making the point about what we really assessed, and we had an 8 grading criteria, 8-point grading criteria on 8 different infrastructure. And for each infrastructure, we assess the capacity, we assess the condition, the funding, future needs, operation and maintenance. Is infrastructure public safety. So we looked at public safety, resilience, and innovation. So it was not just a one-dimensional assessment of whether the road or the electricity or water, the capacity is okay or the funding is enough. It's an aggregation of these 8 different grading criteria that we came out with the score for each infrastructure. So earlier on, you talked about whether we are building for now or the future. So future needs is something also we assess for each and every infrastructure. And the report card goes into the details to give for every infrastructure whether the current state with even embedded issues that will meet our future needs. At the same time, whether it's resilient enough, whether we are being innovative enough, and those grading scores were done by over 900 professionals.
10 years after the first scorecard, do you think we are making any meaningful progress in terms of infrastructure in this country?
Let me say it's a mixed bag. You know, 10 years ago, we only assessed 3 infrastructure areas. And what we have seen from the report, if you compare the 3 areas, the energy sector, electricity has improved, and they improved significantly on operation and maintenance. Funding is still a challenge within the energy sector. However, 10 years after, roads has not done so well, or has not done well, let me put it bluntly, has not done well. I think funding remains a big challenge. Public safety, our roads are killing us. Public safety is a major challenge on our roads that we need to work on seriously as a nation, because if you are in a nation that you have almost 2,000 people dying on your roads, it's more serious than even COVID, because COVID, we did not have over 2,000 people dying in a year. And so the safety on our roads is something that we realized, I think, has deteriorated over the period. At the same time, The water sector stagnated if you compare to 20 this thing. There has been some improvement, but the non-revenue water losses within the water sector is so high, 50%. Non-revenue water losses is challenging. What it tells you that even though, first, we don't have enough water. Potable water is not so much, and the ones that we process, we also lose 50%. We need to do something about that. So it's been a mixed bag, and on the average, we realized that 10 years ago, for those 3 infrastructure areas, we still had D3, still D3 now, but in terms of percentages, we have gone down 2 percentages, because 10 years ago, for those 3 infrastructure, we had 58%. If you compare now, we have 56% for those same infrastructure. So although energy has done well, roads pulled the 3 together down, and that's why we are getting those scores for those. So we need to work on, and I think it's a clarion call. And if you look at the report, we have also given solutions, what we think needs to be done for each and every infrastructure area. Right. But it's a clarion call first to us as professionals, to the government, to contractors, to designers, to each and every one of us within the infrastructure, that we need to start thinking differently. Because even in terms of costs, we are spending so much on our infrastructure, but the users are not getting the needed benefits. So we have, for example, we've sunk so much money in education over the past 10 years. But if you look at the outcome, our education infrastructure lacks a lot. There are so many classrooms that do not even have toilets. ICT facilities are poor and all those things. And that's what we noticed from this infrastructure report card.
That's
and
very
we
worrying.
want to engage government and policymakers and see how we can change the paradigm going forward.
None of the sectors scored an A, either A1, A2, A3. Yeah. None of them scored a B, either a B1, B2, B3. The best performer was aviation. That scored C3.
Yes.
I'm quite surprised, though. What happened?
Yes, and aviation, we notice, is doing well, and on the average, I mean, C is good. And in terms of percentage, they scored 71%, which, depending on the school you went to, 71% can be good. In the university, if you recall, in KNUST, 71 is first class. Am I right? And so it's generally good. But what has helped them is that safety within the aviation is very high. They still have challenges with funding, but if you notice, over the past 10 years, we've had Terminal 1 in Accra, Kumasi, and so we are expanding our aviation infrastructure seriously, and I think that has helped them. They have also met other international, as I said, safety, but their throughput has increased over the period, and generally the infrastructure, aviation infrastructure is resilient. We need more, but I think what they have done right is operation and maintenance. They are also maintaining the infrastructure very well. Indeed, when we saw the fact sheets which we developed for each and every sector from the minute, we noticed that maintenance culture within the aviation sector is something that needs to be emulated by the other infrastructure disciplines or ministries.
Maintenance culture. I think that's one of our biggest challenge as a country. What did you find with regards to our maintenance culture in your research?
So beside aviation and maybe energy, what we notice from our study is that maintenance is a big challenge within our country. We are focused on developing new infrastructure. So as a nation, we are focused on, let's build new roads. Let's build new things, build new railways. Let's build new schools. But maintaining what we have is what we lack as a people. So asset preservation is not within our framework. So we build and we wait for a long period for it to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Then we come back and rebuild. And you see that, and we didn't do anything on our sports infrastructure, but you see that even around our stadiums and all those things, we see this same thing going around, and we need to change our strategy. And that is why in our recommendation, we don't like putting new institutions, but one of the things we have said is that we need an independent body to build the culture of maintenance into our operation and various institutions.
I think you should expand it to sports. You will be amazed.
Yeah, so
you'll be amazed.
We are actually expanding. We did not look at sanitation,
right?
And so the Public Accountability Committee, which I head at the Ghana Institution of Engineering, we have promised that we will look at other sectors within the coming year or so. It took us too long to come out with the second one. We want to, the president of our institution, Engineer Ludwig Hesse, has tasked us that we should do this every 3 years so that we can affect policy going forward.
Dr. Patrick Bekwin, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He's the Vice President and Co-Chair of the Public Accountability Committee of the Ghana Institution of Engineering.
Thank you for having us, and really appreciate your time.
Well, to other stories this evening, 6 months pregnant Esther Bamusani still walks into Kidenge DA Basic School in the Savannah region every day. A trained teacher volunteering without an official posting, she and 2 other teachers manage more than 200 pupils in a school whose roof was only repaired after sustained community pressure on the District Assembly. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in the 7th episode of Crumbling Start Season 2.
At Kendenge Presby Primary School in the Northeast Gonjo District, lesson starts with recitals. Poems and rhymes keep the children awake, focused, and sometimes show up at school. In this rural community, keeping children in school takes more sacrifice. 6 months pregnant Esther Bamusani still walks into the classroom most mornings. She is a volunteer teacher here. If she does not come, some of these children may not learn at all.
When I was growing, I liked children. So whenever I see children, I feel like being with them. I came here to help them with their volunteering again. And at first they were helping, but it came to a time they stopped. But because I still have love for the young ones, I still do the work.
Esther holds a diploma in basic education from the EP College of Education in Bimbala. But more than 8 years later, she still has no official posting.
Because of the financial problem, that's why for the lances I couldn't write up to now. But I don't have anything doing that can support me to write
it. Esther's presence makes a difference in this classroom, but the needs of the school are much larger than one person. With more than 200 pupils in the school, the shortage of teachers have stretched the staff thin.
The teachers are not enough. So sometimes I will feel like stopping because there is no any help for that. And other time when I see that the children are just hanging like that, I feel like coming back. So the other time I just stopped totally. And the headmaster asked me why I was helping the school and I stopped. I said yes. Go and sit down. Go and sit down. Just because I'm not getting any help.
She usually comes and handles the KG, the young ones. And if you look at our enrollment structure, that's where we are getting them more. The school is not adequately staffed. We are 3, handling about 8 classes.
A few years ago, the school faced an even bigger challenge when the rainstorm ripped off the roof of the school block.
It was in June that we had a heavy rain downpour. So this particular part was ripped off.
Every time the rains gather, teachers and pupils worried about what might happen next. Determined to change the situation, community members, supported by citizen journalists under the Citizen-Led Action for Educational Accountability and Responsiveness, the CLARE project, began drawing attention to the deteriorating roof and pushing for action. They engaged the district assembly, kept the issue on the agenda, and rallied support within the community. Their persistence paid off.
But fortunately, School for Life was also running a project. That project was called CLARE Project. That's Citizen-Led Action on Education and Accountability Responsiveness. They amplifies our voice through the assembly and do follow-ups and engages with the community, the school, and the stakeholders in all.
The change is visible in the classroom. The singing is louder and the lessons easier than before. The school had 144 pupils in 2023. By 2024, the number rose to 191, and today, 227 children come to learn here every day.
When I was not coming, the enrollment was totally down. Because sometimes you come 5 or 6 children. So when I started coming, the children, because of the exercise we were doing here, by then they were not cooking. But when they come, we sing and we dance. So it was encouraging them to be coming. So the enrollment was increasing up to the total of numbers now.
But the growing number also means more pressure on the few teachers left. And often, Esther fills the gap. The improvements have made a difference, but the school still carries heavy burdens.
The students are there. The furniture is not enough. It's not. I don't want to say it's not there, but about 4 or 5 classes are just empty, and the learners are sitting on the floor.
The help I need, maybe government can help me, because I have my distance certificate, diploma 1 lying down, but I'm still following up to see if they can help me. But up to now, I haven't gotten that opportunity. But even if any NGO or any help can come from anywhere.
For now, education in Kendenge stands on the dedication of people like Esther, who keep hope alive for these children until more help arrives. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Kendenge, Northeast Gunja District, Savannah Region.
From the Savannah region, let's head to the Ashanti region now, where angry residents of Konongo, Odumasi and its environs have served a 1-month ultimatum to the government to complete the long-abandoned Konongo bypass road or face massive protests that could completely block the critical Accra-Kumasi highway. The residents have criticized the government and local leaders for politicizing the safety crisis, as many motorists and pedestrians continue to lose their lives in multiple road crashes in that stretch.
Residents say Ohene Kwanta 3-lane Achedie stretch of the main Kumasi-Accra highway is no longer safe, as multiple accident-related deaths are recorded on that stretch daily. These frequent fatal accidents involve taxis, sprinter buses, motorcycles, and other vehicles. A bypass road project initiated years ago under the SY John Akufo-Addo administration remains uncompleted. Residents say government destroyed several hectares of their cocoa and plantain farms, displacing some of them with a promise the bypass would reduce traffic and accidents on the main road.
Nyamiya doma o mampeni yese oyi o maye bypass no. Yen nyina ye nije e mamanfo wokonongu krodiem ne fridwa so e de besi yen fa ne se Ohene Kwanta nyina no hano na dodo na yenkofo proto a anase yemofu sase nti eba na sa no hwan na mpe kwan ho na so eba ne sen yenka bi nhiem edwuma no besi nda ye kase yenisu ade hu anase ye pese be ye kwan na ye nyina no nka ye ho be ha ye wo yakwantuom no ni nyina abrase anase esu etwa.
But after several years of waiting, the project remains abandoned and stalled, while the contractor, Akufo-Addo Construction Company, is nowhere to be found. Heavy vehicular traffic congestion holds up motorists in traffic who are forced to spend several hours in traffic. Residents say the development has contributed to pedestrian knockdowns as a result of the constant gridlock.
Traffic any konongo ani odumase no aburo be tutu mi makola ba ko a we see a wonya abrantie we see akosi amoa na obi ayi afa ho na ka bebo no kohwe nipa ewu konongo efuru konongo odumase ni fitamu obesi a aburo be tutu afa ba akopɛ.
They say link roads that could also serve as detours have been neglected and remain in bad shape. The development has angered residents who have given a 1-month ultimatum to government to fix the situation or face thereof.
We appeal to President Mahama and his government to do something about Kumasi-Accra Road to avoid the accident. We appeal him to continue the bypass road. That one is abandoned there, so the traffic will reduce for us. This road is very busiest road, one of the busiest road in Ghana, Accra to Kumasi Road, and there are a lot of accidents going around today. About 2 or 3 accidents, about 14 casualties. It's very unfortunate.
We are talking about Ubuntu. We are talking about February brain, Ubuntu and Timima. The Massa by Akufo-Addo, a bypass or Konoa, it's not mine. As I'm a team and we know, there's not as a moment like American from my that's Vimla. The debate be free gas, echo, and vessel, but for 1 days, yes, I said. I can't know any epe. Now, when Saya Kwaya Yake, oh my bypass, oh my man, bypass or what? Sadi way against ECOWAS road, no damage. Portos are wood high risky, Ekumnipa. And the problem in Anasenka, MC Nintie, no fun to his excellency John Dramani Mahama. Say, Akasu go keke. It's about 20%. It's Kondomi and a bypass, no. Embedaho, Nanka Casa Cassianoa.
A leading member of the organizers of the demonstration says the youth have moved past partisan politics in their agitation. Pascal Kwaku Opong, who composed a campaign song for the ruling NDC, hints at how prepared angry residents are for the demonstration.
Our leaders are sitting there politicizing about this road. We are tired of empty promises. And I'm taking this opportunity to call the youth of Asante Achim Central that they should stand up. They should come out massively with their numbers for this demonstration. 1 month. If these leaders, we didn't see the machines back with Akufo-Addo Company on the road to continue and complete the road in order for the big vehicles, the long vehicles to pass through that way, in order to cut off this accident, then we are going to block the major road in Asante Achim Central. And in Asante Achim Central in particular, per what is happening, I will say this boldly. I don't trust the leaders over here. I'm talking about the MP, the MC, the coordinators, the NADMOs, from head to toe. I don't trust anyone.
Meanwhile, the leaders of the planned demonstration staged a protest at the Municipal Assembly to officially petition the head of security in the area. From Konongo for Joy News, Wontumi reporting.
Still in the Ashanti region, the Ashanti Car Dealers Association are appealing to local traditional authorities, including the Asantehene, to intervene in what they describe as the unfair treatment by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly of its members operating along the shoulders of Ahunjo to Santasi Road. The association says KMA's ongoing evacuation exercise tied to the dual carriage project on the stretch has left many of its members without an alternative place to conduct business and expect frustration among affected dealers. But the KMA says the exercise is necessary to ease traffic movement, arguing the assembly is currently troubled with finding alternative spaces to locate the car dealers. More in this report.
Addressing a press conference in Kumasi, Secretary of the Ashanti Car Dealers Association, Davis Echampon, described the actions of the KMA task force as unfair and premature. According to him, the KMA had issued several notices to occupants along the stretch and had promised to secure an alternative location for affected traders, including car dealers. However, Mr. Champon alleged that while the assembly has begun demolishing structures and forcing dealers to move their vehicles, no alternative site has been provided.
As I say, I'm the man for say, I'm going to back. As I say, car dealers, no.
When they announced that they were about to construct this road, we asked them to find a temporary place for us behind the Forestry Commission. We've been to the assembly several times, but to no avail.
2 years ago, the letters came me. So, temporarily, you are not Jenny baby, no say, the sorry, I need the soldier for near Yabeguya, so to say, we are at war. Yeah, this one say, Asantehene, Bomi Mwase. Some of
the affected car dealers expressed frustration over the development, saying the sudden demolitions and evictions have disrupted their livelihoods and sales. Zuba, you told us you would find us a place. You didn't give us any compensation.
Baby, no one palm. Say, machine, what you are catching your armor, you give a be a fancy. Oh, 2 for so you baby. Nadaroma, Nanani, Omremu, boy, no, on pennies, Omremu. Someone come at Garages. Now, come on the hedge man door. So you say, they are say, Jack, Juma, Yabeko, now, Colana day, and you're calling your doors.
Kumasi Mayor Richard Ofori Bodi has been reacting to their concerns.
We cannot let a few people hold the whole of Kumasi hostage and then become a stumbling block to the city's development. There's no space in Kumasi that can accommodate all. So some have come and we have made the individual arrangements. I can show you places like when you are descending the Ridge police station towards KMA. There's one who has come, the place is being prepared so that they can relocate to that particular place. So that's the one we have spaces, and the ones that come to us will find spaces. I had to write to the Forestry Commission. The first time we wrote to them.
He has been also providing updates on the construction of the road dualization project.
There are Ghanaian government obligations. Those obligations are that which we are carrying out. Per the arrangement, our obligations, I think we are left with 2. We are done with the relocation of monuments at the 100 roundabout. Because of the statue at Santasi roundabout, there are some rituals that we have to perform. Once we perform that one, we remove that one. And then we would have to pay compensation to some houses that will be affected. Once we are done with those ones, the contractor will move to site, take possession of the land, and then begin construction. So we are looking, give and take somewhere between November, December for actual construction to begin. And when it begins, it will last for 18 months.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
6 suspects are in police custody and 300,000 cedis has been recovered following a swift police operation that busted a highway robbery on the Porto-Gulumpe highway on the 19th of July. In a shocking revelation, the Bono East Police Command has confirmed that the robbery was orchestrated by the victim's own driver, who tipped off his accomplices and tracked his boss's vehicle from Ofinso in the Ashanti region. All suspects are charged and will be put before the court. Anas Sabit has more.
It all began on the evening of July 19th at about 8:30 p.m. on the Porto-Gulumpe highway, a stretch of road that has seen its share of criminal activity. Intelligence received at the Porto police barrier indicated that a robbery was in progress just a few meters away. Police personnel responded immediately, arriving to find the aftermath of a shocking heist. Businessman Yaya Sedu was on his way from Ofinso in the Ashanti region to Bupe to purchase cattle. He was traveling in his Kia Rhino driven by Samad Isaka and carrying a substantial sum of 300,000 Ghana cedis in cash. The perpetrators were waiting. They trailed the vehicle and struck after the barrier. However, the robbery had a key flaw. The driver of the gateway vehicle, a Toyota Voxy, was caught at the scene. That driver, Abdul Samad Ali, immediately implicated his accomplice, Samad Isaka, who, in a shocking twist, was not just a part of the gang, but was actually the victim's own driver. TCOP Shaibu Sadiq Osei is the Bono East Regional Police Commander.
On Sunday, 19 July 2026, at about 20:30 hours, police personnel on duty at the Porto barrier received intelligence that a robbery was in progress between Porto and Gulumpe. Personnel on patrol duty on the stretch were dispatched to the robbery scene. The 4 robbers who had stopped a Kia Reno to rob its occupants escaped into the bush as the patrol team arrived at the scene.
The chase, however, was not over. 4 other suspects had fled into the bush, but they were not prepared for the response. A joint team of local police and counter-terrorism personnel launched a pursuit, tracking them down and arresting all 4.
Acting on this information, the counter-terrorism team that is stationed at Kintampo, together with the local patrol team, pursued the 4 robbery suspects in the bush and successfully arrested all 4, namely Samad Isaka, age 24 years, Faisal Salifu, age 26 years, Azigri Aboka, age 25 years, and Stevie Awuni, age 20 years, at Kawompe Main Road, where they attempted to board a vehicle to escape with their booty.
In a crucial victory, the search on the fleeing suspects led to the retrieval of the full 300,000 Ghana cedis. This means the victim has not lost a single cedi. The police have praised the alertness and professionalism displayed, particularly by the counter-terrorism unit.
I also want to commend my team at Kintambo, led by Divisional Commander ACP Mr. Samuel Gamson, and all men, especially the counter-terrorism team and the patrol team on duty during the period, and all other officers and men who in diverse ways fiercely pursued these elements.
The Bono East Regional Police Command has assured the public of their commitment to safety, and this operation serves as a strong message that crime will not pay in this region.
It is sad to note that these able young men who are supposed to use their youthful age to explore something meaningful have rather decided to go into robbery as a source of livelihood. Let me use this opportunity to sound a word of caution to all criminal elements in the Bono East region and the country as a whole to find a meaningful job, because we will not find comfort in Bono East region in particular and the country as a whole.
reporting for Joy News. Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
Back here in Accra, some residents of Achimota Mile 7 roundabout are concerned over threats posed by the damaged pedestrian walkway left behind by the June 29th floods. A large portion of the stretch has been badly eroded, exposing users to grave danger. Residents want the walkway fixed immediately to avert any casualty. Evelyn Amper has more in the following report.
I'm currently here at Mile 7, where the heavy rains on June 29 have left behind a major collapse along the pedestrian walkway. A large section of the pavement has caved in, leaving a deep hole that is gradually eating into the walkway. Several pavement blocks have already fallen into the hole, while others are hanging at the edge with little support beneath them.
A resident observed that the pavement blocks have gradually caved in as water flowing beneath the bridge washed away the soil supporting the walkway.
The erosion and the pressure from under bridge, that is from this structure, as you can see, the brown structure here, that is washing the soil under the bridge. It's gradually eroding the soil that is used to fill even the pedestrian walkway. This is very dangerous because anybody who doesn't know that the under part of the pedestrian walkway is being washed away or erosion is washing it away can drop into it unknowingly.
Fearing for the potential risk posed to them, residents are calling on authorities to quickly fix the damaged section of the walkway.
We are pleading on the government to do something about this. I don't know whether it's a pit or death trap. They should do something about it because now, as you can see, the sound is really going, and then now there is a pit behind it. So a time is coming, you'll be passing here, and by any means you might fall in it, and then so I'm pleading that we shouldn't wait till someone dies here.
It's good time to children also pass here to come and pick car around there. And looking at this place too, now we don't know, the weather is not stable. It can rain anytime. So looking at this place, it's not good. So we are pleading that the government should do something about it so that there will be any incident.
The concern now is how quickly the erosion can be contained before more of the walkway is affected. For Joy News, Evelyn Ampa reporting.
When the rains fail in the Upper West region, it's women and children who are the ones that pay the price. Minister for Climate Change and Sustainability, Alhaji Baba Seidu Isufu, says relief is moving closer straight into their district assembly. New climate units will put experts, early warning and access to global climate funds right where the floods hit and crops burn. He says Upper West region will take the lead if it works there. Every district will also enjoy. Joy News' Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam has more.
This is what climate change looks like in Upper West region. Failed crops, displaced families, and for many women, no choice but to cut trees for charcoal just to survive. Government plans to set up dedicated climate and sustainability units in every district assembly across Ghana. The goal, according to the Minister for Climate Change and Sustainability, Alhaji Baba Isufu, is to track climate impacts on the ground, teach communities how to adapt and unlock international climate financing that usually bypasses rural areas.
As the local authorities, we should make this effort to have this engagement where we share capacity, we share our understanding of the effects of climate change, and also for us to put them in readiness for the creation of the climate and sustainability units and other assemblies. We're looking at how to do that for all the assemblies in Ghana, so that reporting on climate-related activities will be up there. In fact, beyond this point, we are also thinking that we should even have a climate and sustainability hub in Accra, which would then tend to build capacity of these assemblies.
The Upper West region is ground zero. Officials says climate shocks here don't just ruin harvest, they break up families.
We all know that anytime we have these shocks, livelihood is affected. homes are displaced, education is affected, the whole value chain of our livelihood is affected. Now, most of the times we find some of our women and children migrating from one place to another because of the hazards of climate change.
Regional leaders say the plan only works if it gives women another option. Right now, charcoal is survival. Haji Fatih Sakokuri is the chief director at the Upper Suja Coordinating Council, and she spoke on behalf of the Upper Suja minister.
Once we should also think of what to do to help in absorbing the shocks, because most of the issues like felling of trees for charcoal and whatnot is the women who suffer, because that's the source of livelihood for them. And when there's no alternative for them, I don't know what we expect them to do. So as we do that, we should be thinking of other alternatives that we can get for the women to engage in.
These new climate units will set key points indicators, chase zone abundance, and train locals on everything from tree planting to climate smart farming. The bigger plan is a national climate hub in Accra to back them up, but it starts here, because if you can make it work in Upper West, the region West hit, you can make it work anywhere. The RCC says full teams from the EPA and the Fossil Commission will soon inspect the West hit sites with the minister. For now, the message to assemblies is simple: start with what you have. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
South Africa's state broadcaster, SABC, has apologized to Ghana after falsely reporting an Ebola outbreak in the country, including claims of thousands of cases and deaths. During its live broadcast yesterday, SABC News Channel 404 displayed a news scroll stating that Ghana had recorded more than 2,000 Ebola cases and over 900 deaths. The Ministry of Health has since rejected the report, clarifying that Ghana has not recorded a single Ebola case. In a statement, the ministry described the publication as false and urged the public to disregard the information. Here's what the ministry said on your screen right now. And it says that the ministry wishes to state unequivocally that Ghana has not recorded any case of Ebola. The figures being circulated are false, misleading, and should be disregarded. It continues to say that these proactive measures do not indicate an Ebola outbreak in Ghana. The ministry urges the public to rely only on official information from the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service, and to avoid sharing unverified reports that may cause unnecessary fear and panic. That's the Ministry of Health's statement released on that effect.
News incorrectly attributing Ebola statistics to Ghana in our news scroll that is at the bottom of your screen. This happened during a broadcast last night. Well, SABC News says it regrets the error and apologizes for any distress or inconvenience caused. To clarify, according to Ghana's Ministry of Health, these are the facts. Ghana has not recorded any case of Ebola virus. The Minister of Health, Kwaben Minta Akando, recently visited the points of entry as well as laboratories and treatment facilities as part of Ghana's routine preparedness efforts meant to strengthen the country's readiness to prevent and respond to any potential public health emergency. The proactive measures do not indicate an Ebola outbreak once again in Ghana.
So this is the apology issued by SABC in South Africa minutes after the Ministry of Health released that statement. And it is unclear whether the Ghanaian government will take any further action over the false report. And that's it for the pulse this evening. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. The news team returns at 7 p.m. with News Prime. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, have a good evening.